everyone, and welcome back to Casual Climbers, the podcast by and for beginning hikers. I'm your host, Donna Padrick, and alongside me is my husband and adventure buddy, Roy.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Roy.
So in this week's episode, the last of 2024, we take a look back at the year that was. We retrace our steps of the trails from the very first episode, talk about some of our favorite trails of the whole year, and discuss some of the biggest events of 2024. We also share our experiences about doing the podcast itself, and it's been very rewarding. So what do you say, Donna? Ready to take a look back at 2024?
Let's go.
So the first part we're going to do today is we're going to retrace our steps. Now, we started this podcast exactly 1 year ago today. So today is Christmas Day 2024, and we started our first two hikes on Christmas Day 2023. And we did the Turtle Trail and Lake Placid Loop at Paris Mountain State Park, and we did those again this morning.
Yeah.
How did you feel about doing those again?
Okay, so I did have some feelings about it because last year we did it after we had a big meal and then we were walking off that meal. This time we did it first thing in the morning. Like we were waiting for the sun to come up and then we got out there and did it. It was very cold.
Yeah, we have guests coming in today, so we wanted to get it done early.
Yeah, we're super excited about having guests. But so it was cold, but it was really nice being out there with the sun rising. When the sun started coming up and the tops of the trees started turning golden. Because you don't, in the winter up here, you don't get colors. We just had,
We had a gorgeous fall, but those leaves are almost all gone now.
Yeah. So to have the sunrise and sunset colors is really valuable to me.
Yeah, one of the things that struck me is how much the park has changed.
Yeah.
Since October, and we're going to get into this more later in the podcast, but Hurricane Helene did a number on Paris Mountain State Park.
Yeah.
There were bridges that had been reconstructed.
Really well done.
Kudos to every park ranger and official and volunteer that helped reconstruct Paris Mountain State Park and all the state parks and local parks, national forests, everything around the Appalachian region. It's been amazing the amount of damage and the amount of work that's been done. We're going to get into more of that later, but I was struck by how many downed trees there were.
Yeah.
And the fact that the trails were open because
of volunteers and because of the hard
went
work.
in and cut them, yeah.
Yeah, of the park rangers and yeah.
What was particularly interesting to me too is how, we had been to Paris Mountain State Park many times before we did the podcast last year. And so it was one of those things where the park is familiar to us. But as I was walking Turtle Trail, that's only the second time you and I had done Turtle Trail. The first one was for the first episode last year. And I felt very nostalgic.
Yes.
For how much we've done. And I'm going to get into some statistics about you and I hiking throughout the year later. But it felt nice to get back to these two very easy trails.
I believe I had wanted to go see these trails in the spring, summer, fall, but we didn't.
We have a full plate of hiking to do, but yeah.
But this is only 10 minutes from our house.
It is. So we're going to make a point to visit Paris Mountain at least once a week.
Yeah, because it's something that we could do after work before the sun sets, at least in the summer. I don't know about the winter. Winter sun sets pretty quick here.
Yeah, but it is so close that we can get to it more often.
Yeah.
So it was a nice trip down memory lane. These are two easy trails, the two easiest trails at the park.
Yeah.
So we highly recommend if you're going to do Paris Mountain, if you're going to visit it at all, do these trails. It takes 30 minutes to do one and 45 for the other.
I still brought my one pole, and I'm glad I did because I am at that age where I get out of bed and I step wrong and I twist my knee and my hip and things go bad. Things can go south so quick. Like I can throw my back out with a sneeze at this point in my life.
I'm so old. The dumbest things make me have back pain.
One hiking pole really helped. Just because I'm old.
Yeah. The Turtle Trail, I didn't feel a need for anything. The only part on Lake Placid Loop, and we talked about it back in episode number 1, that is even remotely challenging is the area by the dam, because you have to go down. Now, one side is steps, fairly straightforward, that you can walk. It's not wooden steps, but there's logs that hold off dirt and gravel.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the other side.
I think there was an easier
the west side.
Yeah, I think there was an easier way that we could have gone around.
It's a little easier if you go follow the creek to the right a little bit and then go back up. It's a little easier, but most people just go straight up the rocks. But it's a little bit of a scramble.
I found it to be because we went
clockwise.
Okay. And we normally go counterclockwise, which I think we go counterclockwise often. But anyway, It was going down these kind of big boulder rock things.
It was a little challenging.
Yeah, there were moments that I was like,
just have to be careful. That's really all.
Thankfully, there was no ice on the ground.
I was surprised at the lack of ice.
Yeah, with as cold as it's been.
Yeah,
but maybe it's because we haven't had rain.
It hasn't been terribly cold here in Greenville for the past week. I don't think we've had any sub-freezing temperatures. If it has, it hasn't been for very long.
Yeah.
So it's not been terribly cold here in this area. So yeah, we'd recommend this. It was nice visiting the first two trails of our podcast.
Yeah. This is a trail that you can hike and you can bring pets, but you can't bring a mountain bike on at least the Turtle Trail. I'm not sure about the lake, around the lake.
I don't think they stop you, but I don't think you would. I don't know how you're getting it up those rocks.
Yeah.
Or down the steps. I mean, there is a little path off to the left of the steps that you can walk that's not stepped. It's just a grade, but I've never seen a mountain biker on it. And especially considering there are many different mountain bike
actual trails for them
at Paris Mountain. Yeah, I don't imagine anybody would go there. Okay, so Donna, let's talk about our favorite trails that we did in 2024.
Okay.
Now, we briefly discussed this before that we started recording.
Yeah.
You and I have a consensus 1 and 2.
Yeah. I mean, and depending on if it's summer or winter.
Exactly. They'll swap back and forth. So my top 2, and then we'll share our third, which I don't think we share, you and I. My favorite one is Grandfather Loop. The one we did in the very last episode that we just did.
Yeah.
Is so rewarding of a hike to do. Every aspect of it was pure joy for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was challenging enough to keep my heart rate up. There were so many beautiful things to look at. There was interesting rock formations. It had everything a mountain hike could possibly want, except for a waterfall.
Right.
And is that one of yours?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Grandfather Mountain Loop.
Okay. The second one is Triple Falls, High Falls, and Hooker Falls Trail.
Heavy on the Hooker Falls.
Very heavy on the Hooker Falls. Now, Triple Falls and High Falls is spectacular.
Spectacular for viewing, yeah.
Gorgeous. But if you want a waterfall that you can get in the water, and it's a big area that you can swim in, plenty deep enough, Hooker Falls is the way to go. This is one that we have taken family to in the summer, and we've swam underneath the waterfall. This is something I'm going to do every summer.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely by far. The hike itself, if you just do Hooker Falls from the parking lot, is short.
Yeah.
Very short. It's maybe 20 minutes there.
Super easy.
Triple Falls and High Falls, if you do those on that side of the spur, it's a little longer. It's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Absolutely well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
100% well worth it.
I'm kind of curious about, have we gone to the visitor center there at?
We still have not done the visitor center. It's in a different area than the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. And also, there's horseback riding up there, and that might be something to explore.
We saw horse apples there.
We did.
Now, I don't know if they have horseback riding that you can pay to do. I think people can bring their horses that they own.
Okay. Well, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Confirm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then those are our 2 that we both agree are 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
What's your third?
So our trip to Kentucky and seeing Cumberland Falls, the hike to Cumberland Falls was not necessarily super spectacular, but Cumberland Falls itself, and then hiking away from it, we took a different way.
The backside is spectacular.
Yeah.
That's where
we saw God's Cathedral is what you call it.
That's what I call it.
Yeah. But what it's really called is, I forgot.
I think it's Cave Rock or something like that. Some dumb name.
Was something that was like, Didn't sound like it would be that spectacular.
A throwaway.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're ever in Kentucky near Cumberland Falls, I recommend that. That's just stunning to me.
They call it the Niagara of the South, but
you were not you weren't again, your back was out that day, and maybe you just are more enamored with rock formations because it was when you saw that huge cathedral like rock formation when we were hiking away from Cumberland Falls.
That's when it actually became interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think part of it was probably had to do with the viewing platform of the falls, in my opinion, does not give you a great view of the falls.
Okay, but we could have, I think there's another, like you can hike down and around near the falls to get a different view of the falls, and we didn't do that.
Yeah, they say that you can online. We didn't see a single soul down low. Not one. So I don't know how.
I don't know
if
where
it's authorized or what. I don't know.
We didn't really investigate. So we'll have to go back.
Yeah, I hate it. I am never opposed to going back to Kentucky. Yeah. So that was yours, huh?
Yeah.
That one, okay. Mine was Tunnel Hill and Carter Log Cabin Trail in Virginia.
Okay.
At Natural Tunnel State Park. The natural tunnel was so amazing. Just how it was formed. You know, a ancient river that burrowed a hole in the mountain, and then they use it for trains.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Actual train tracks. Yeah,
and then the sheer cliff
and
Lover's Leap.
Yeah,
is spectacular. And then, as if that weren't enough, you go around the corner and see this 18th century cabin next to a stream, and the trail itself was fun. Not overly challenging at all. We're going to have to go back when they have the chairlifts going.
Oh, yeah.
So we can take the chairlift. But top to bottom, it was a really, really fun trail. It was one of my favorite, obviously, one of my top threes. And if we include the Lover's Leap Overlook, which is a separate trail in a different parking area, this is easily top three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That was spectacular. And we were there in the fall, and I got on video a vortex of leaves that were just swirling around in this huge open area right above where the train would come through that natural tunnel. That was something.
It was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
So many parts of that take your breath away.
Yeah, I agree. It was fantastic start to finish for me. So that's my top three. Grandfather Loop, Triple Fall, High Fall, Hooker Falls, and Tunnel Hill and Carter Hall. And your third one was Cumberland Falls Trail. I get it. I do. I disagree with you. but I get it.
Well, you're allowed to be wrong. That's okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think you're allowed to be wrong.
That's so nice. We're giving each other permission
to be wrong, but you're wrong.
Yeah. You get to be yourself.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the biggest headlines of 2024. Now, I want to start out with a feel-good headline here first. You and I hiked over 180 miles for more than 70 hours in 5 states in 2024.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Over 180 miles. It might be over 200 because there were some trails that we didn't do podcast episodes on. And I didn't track them.
Well, and I want to put this in there. If you have to park far away and you're not marking, like us having to walk up or down from a parking area
to I just started the trailhead.
Yes. Yeah. That's I'm not going to say any like colorful words, but that's not cool.
Well,
but
that's not where the trail starts.
But those steps should count.
Okay. I mean,
I guess they count for
your steps.
Yeah.
Daily steps or
but
whatever.
But also, if our listeners are having to park further away from the trail, but sometimes I guess
we always tell them.
Okay.
When the trailhead is. But yeah, so 180 miles at least for more than 70 hours in 5 different states.
Yeah.
And we're planning even more in 2025. I think we'll be over 200 easy.
You know what would be interesting too is to look up like the highest points and like how long we were at different elevations.
Oh,
and
I
stuff.
should have totally had that data ready. I'm sorry.
Oh,
You put me out on blast. I did not come prepared with that
I
information.
wasn't helping you put this stuff together because I was cleaning the house for our guests that are coming this afternoon. But so I'm not faulting you. I'm just saying it would be interesting to know.
I'll have that information handy for our mid-year review.
Okay.
In 2025.
All right.
Now, the other big headline, which was the biggest headline of 2024, was Hurricane Helene.
Yeah.
And this storm was devastating.
Yeah.
To the entire Southeast. The high winds and flooding killed more than 230 people, making it the deadliest hurricane to strike the U.S. since Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico in 2017.
Wow.
Estimates put the economic impact of the storm, including property and infrastructure damage, as high as $200 billion.
That's insane.
Making it the most costliest storm in the U.S. history. Hurricane Helene was the costliest storm in the U.S. history. That is insane.
Yeah.
And you and I have seen it. We have seen it. Everywhere we go, roads are still destroyed. Trees are downed literally everywhere. And this was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Every state park that we've been to has had trees down. Every park in its path, including upstate South Carolina, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, southwest Virginia, and Kentucky, experienced partial or major damage to trails, buildings, and infrastructure. Now, since October, since you and I have been hiking, we have not been on a single trail where there has not been dozens or more downed trees.
Yeah, I was actually surprised because, we're in upstate South Carolina in Greenville area. And so doing these couple of trails this morning, the fact that you can see all the trees that were felled and across the path, but have been cut up and the path was clear for us. That was something to be really, really thankful for.
Those park workers and volunteers worked tirelessly to get these trails back up and running.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are not in the area, the amount of downed trees and flooding was insane. Even our own neighborhood, we had over a dozen downed trees of varying sizes. One of our neighbors had 2 trees fall on his roof.
Yeah.
Big, huge oak trees. And so it's been devastating. Asheville is still trying to recover. Much of their downtown and even the outlying structures are still destroyed. We drove through there 2 weeks ago, and I was shocked and horrified at how much building damage was still there.
Yeah.
So Hurricane Helene did a number, but man, the resilience of the parks, the volunteers, the people who all suffered hardship and damage from it to come back. Now every park is open now. Now every trail might not be open, but every park is open.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just due sheer willpower of the people who care about
this area.
Yeah. So that hands down the biggest. I wish it was a better headline, that it's the biggest headline. But, the takeaway I'm taking from it is how impressive the willpower of the people to get these parks, get these trails, get these forests back up to so that people can enjoy them. So if any of you are out there listening, you have our very, very hearty thanks.
Yeah.
And if you want to support them, get park passes. Get a North Carolina State Park pass. Get a South Carolina State Park pass. Get all of them. So that you can help support these recovery efforts. So Donna, let's talk a little bit about the podcast itself.
Okay.
So you and I started doing this podcast as both a means to keep us active and honest, but also to provide beginner level information to the people. Do you think that we do that if we're to assess ourselves honestly?
Yeah, I think we do a good job. I mean, we have gotten some good feedback. I would appreciate more feedback.
Yeah, the listener engagement we haven't had as many emails. We've had some and we've answered every single one of them. We've had some, but let's talk about our listener engagement real quick. You may not know this. I don't know if you read the notes. Hopefully not. We have listeners in 35 states.
Really?
And 18 different countries.
Wow.
As far away as Singapore, Indonesia, Russia, and shout out to our amazingly strong German audience who comes in strong every single week. We have so many listeners in Germany.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. So, hey, willkommen. Bienvenue. Thank you, German listeners. I am surprised every week when I look at the statistics at how many German listeners we have. And we're growing everywhere. Like, I'm so surprised. Every time I look at the stats, a new country will pop up or a new state will pop up.
That's pretty great.
And our listener engagement is strong. We're keeping listeners. The average listen time is over 80% of the podcast. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's not just our moms then, huh?
It is not just our moms. So shout out to Rose and Norma for continually listening.
And your niece, Amber, and I don't know who all else from our family. I don't think our kids really listen too much.
I don't think so. I don't think so. So we should shame them into listening?
No, that's not what you do.
We do need to shame them.
I'm pretty sure.
They're our children. They owe us.
That's not how it works.
I think it is how it works.
I disagree.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
You get to be yourself and you have the right to be wrong about things.
We raised them. The least they could do is listen to our podcast.
Actually, Nicholas, I think, does listen.
I think he does.
Yeah.
Hey, Nico, if you're out there listening while you're on deployment in the Navy, proud of you. Thank you for your service and thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Rate us on Apple Podcasts, please.
Oh, come on.
It's crazy. It is crazy to me that the single biggest metric that you can do in your podcast to get, exposure is Apple Podcasts.
I mean,
and it's not even our biggest subscription source for our listeners. So
I mean,
it's the podcast industry still not quite.
There's certain people that just have more money than us and seem to make the rules, and that's okay. That's okay. More power to them.
You're being very generous on Christmas Day. I'm being a little bit Scroogey here with how this works. So, but ultimately, Donna and I sincerely want to thank you for listening. Every single one of you, whether you know us in person or you don't. If you're listening to this podcast today, please know that Donna and I sincerely thank you for listening.
Yeah.
This is not just lip service from two people out in the middle of nowhere. We really, really like that you're listening. We sincerely hope you find it useful.
Remember that Ukrainian woman and gentleman that we met on that one trail? So do we have a Ukraine? Well, they live in the States.
They live in the States now.
But so that wouldn't be.
We do have listeners from Ukraine.
That's crazy.
So many countries. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great. So we truly thank you. And we would love to hear from you. So we had one listener, Jess, not too long ago, ask us, hey, I'm going to be in the Boone area. Can you give us any recommendations? And we absolutely did. Not only did we give her a recommendation, we gave her the recommendation of Grandfather Loop that we covered last week.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a trail that you're interested in and you want us to hike it for you so you can get a
feel for what, somebody that maybe has a faulty knee and hip that. Absolutely. Or just want to see if it's worth doing. Yeah.
Drop us an email and say, hey, can you guys do this trail?
Yep.
And let us know. And we'll be happy to try it. If it's feasible for us, we're happy to try it. Or if you want recommendations, just try it. Email us, casualclimberspodcast@gmail.com.
I did want to point out that one of the positives about Grandfather Mountain in the winter is that if you are in this area and you love the Blue Ridge Parkway, and the Blue Ridge Parkway is closed in the winter, a lot of it is closed for
Most
a lot
of
the time.
Now.
Yeah. Grandfather Mountain doesn't close very much. I didn't know that last year in the winter. We didn't go to Grandfather Mountain in the winter.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, the fact that you can drive up there and get those vistas, even if you're not going to hike, just to drive up there, just to see, it just takes your breath away.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're planning on doing even more hikes than we did this year. We did 46 episodes this year for a total of over 50 hikes. Just for the podcast. And we're going to do more next year, and we're going to do longer ones too. We're going to start to incorporate 5 and 10 mile hikes into our...
Who are you bringing with you for that one?
I'll bring Salem.
Okay.
Salem, our hiking cat.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, no, he's sitting on my lap right now. I don't think he's I don't think he's in favor.
Slap him in the backpack and we'll get going.
If he had a thumb, I think he'd have a thumbs down for that.
You think so? But he doesn't have thumbs, so he can't tell me no. So we're going to do even more. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Definitely brakes. Definitely pack in some cheese and crackers or something.
Oh, yeah. Bring a lunch.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So we're going to expand our horizons. We're going to continue to do them in this area. We're going to continue to target, these states, right?
Yep.
So we're going to hit Georgia and Tennessee and North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, and Virginia, and maybe even West Virginia at some point.
I absolutely do want to check out West Virginia. I've been looking at some of the Facebook groups, the hiking Facebook groups the stuff in West Virginia is just incredibly beautiful.
I can't wait. You're not going to get any pushback from me, because we love traveling, especially in the mountains. And so these places are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your parting words to our audience, Donna?
For 2024,
Mm-hmm.
This has been a beautiful year, and I'm so glad that we started this journey, and I'm glad that the idea of having listeners has kept us honest, and I'm glad that we actually have listeners. That's
It's
pretty
crazy
great.
to think that anybody wants to listen to me talk about anything.
Well, they're not coming here to listen to you. They're listening to me. They just have to put up with,
believe that.
Like,
I totally
just
believe
kidding.
that. No, I totally believe that. You and I, when we talked about this on the trail today, when we started this, I did not expect anybody to listen. Not even our parents. I didn't expect them to listen.
Honestly, I thought, hey, if I ever actually get Alzheimer's or something, then I can listen to these as if like they're new. And it's my own
that
voice.
trail sounds great.
Plus, we're maybe leaving something for our kids if they're interested,
Maybe.
But yeah, it's so cool that
we did it for ourselves, right? We wanted to do this for ourselves. And now, every week, there are some weeks where I go, I don't know if I have one in me this week. I'm just not feeling great, or work is stressful, or any number of things. And then I remember, I get people that actually tune in every week.
I know,
and
it's
listen.
pretty great.
And so
and plus,
I can't let them down.
Hiking is actually very good for my mental health. I don't know about you, but getting out in nature and just breathing.
I have never done a hike where I regretted doing it.
Yeah. Even cloudy, rainy days. I mean, those are,
Even
there was one hike that was so cold, cloudy, rainy, windy. It was right off the Blue Ridge
We turned
Parkway.
around and didn't do it.
Yeah, we walked like 10 feet in and then turned around.
But that's because it would have been dangerous for us.
Actually, dangerous because it was icy and everything.
And it was real high.
We came back and we did that hike later on. And
that's the one with the big open cloud field.
Yes.
Or the open field. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Let me look through my notes.
That was
talk while I look.
Okay. Blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
No, but yeah, it was a beautiful field of wildflowers. And then after you go past the beautiful field of wildflowers, that's when you start this climb up this mountain or hill. I don't know what it's a mountain to a Florida girl, but it was challenging, but I'm really glad we did it. We got to the top and I was so glad that you had brought that little trifold stool that you carry in the backpack for me. You unfolded that. We need to get you one of those.
The stool?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we have one and I can always just sit on the ground.
I mean, you could have me carry my own stool. It's fine.
I could, but what kind of jerk would I be if I made my wife carry her own?
Well, you're not my footman. You're not my servant or anything. You're my husband. You're my partner. And I appreciate you carrying that. So thank you. But yeah, I feel kind of guilty when you carry that on an entire hike and then I don't ever use it.
So that one was Sam's Knob Summit Trail with the big open, with the big open field with all the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you get to the very top and it's I guess is at the knob at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rock. It's there was actually we were up there, we had our lunch, and then somebody behind us was setting up a tent.
Yeah. It was weird. It was a weird place to set up a tent.
Yeah, I guess they were going to be sitting up there all day, or I don't think they were going to be spending the night. Maybe?
I would think that if you're setting up a tent, you're staying.
If you're hiking up there, bringing a tent and everything, but
yeah,
I mean, at least they were behind.
Yeah, they were kind of out of the way. They didn't
try and get front and center.
Yeah,
They weren't yoga dude.
They weren't. I swore to myself that I was not going to bring up yoga dude. I wrote it in the notes.
Don't bring it.
And then I deleted because I was going to bring it in the headlines. And yoga dude sucks.
Oh, no. Don't say.
I deleted it because I wanted to keep positive. And
okay.
You brought me back in.
No, find something
yoga
positive.
Dude still sucks.
No, but find something positive about it. Like he feels good about his body because he feels the need to perform for an audience. And so he gets on the top of a mountain that people are hiking to see this vista, and here's this yoga dude taking up this space and doing yoga and shirtless and
playing his.
I think he had a tattoo of like some Jesus scripture, something.
I don't know.
I can't remember, but man bun and all, like he just was up there doing
the worst.
You can't.
The worst human.
Stop it right now.
All right. So yes, ultimately, thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you for continuing to listen. We're going to bring you more and more stuff in 2025. Reach out to us. We love seeing your emails when they come in. We are happy to answer any questions. And if you have a complaint, we want to know that too. If we're doing something or not doing something that you prefer, you want to give us notes on the audio quality, anything. I do all the editing myself, so I am by no means a professional. So
you've gotten way better though.
We have. Our sound quality is much, much better.
Yeah.
Now than it was before.
Yoga dude's going to write in.
I hope he does. I hope Yoga Dude does. I hope, because then I'll have some information on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got some reasons for how he behaves.
Being a terrible person.
Stop it.
So that wraps up 2024, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Casual Climbers Podcast. Week in and week out, all over the country, all over the world. It has been a mind-blowing experience for Donna and I.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I really, really mean that. Please like us and subscribe to us in whatever podcast app you use, and be sure to leave us a review, because that's how our show grows. Feel free to check out our trail photos at casualclimbers.com or on Instagram at Casual Climbers Podcast. If you have a question, comment, or just want to drop us a line, you can reach us at casualclimberspodcast@gmail.com.
Is there any way to get Sasquatch a message to tell him to go to Yoga Dude? Just go to the top of that trail and just wait for Yoga Dude and then chuck him off the mountain.
No, stop. He needs to just put his arm around him and have a nice little conversation. Maybe turn the music down. Maybe don't do yoga right here in the middle of where everybody wants to see.
Scaring women.
Yeah, he did make women nervous.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Okay.
Sasquatch, if you're listening, and I know that you do listen to our podcast, go get him, bud.
We'll see you out on the trails.